Alright guys, Matt Ads here, and this is a video explaining how to recognize a pump and dump pre-market and how to play it. So this was ACCS, that was the victory mark pick last week, and I'm going to show you how I was able to recognize that it was going to be the pick. So first of all, a little history about ACCS. ACCS was a speculative APS pick in the beginning of May, I believe. A lot of people tried to front load it, and that didn't fare too well for those people. But I kept it on the list anyways of possible promos, and pretty much as you can see here, on the scanners here below, I have 3 scanners set up. One's for 25K blocks, one for 50K blocks, and one for 100K blocks, and ACCS is the only ticker that is lighting it up. So I'm going to make a video in the future later to explain how to set up your scanner, but just for now, I'm just going to explain that if you see a ticker light up the scanners like how ACCS is right now, chances are it's probably going to be the pick. So right now I'm just looking at the blocks going through, and you got some pretty sizable blocks occasionally popping out, like the 250K and the 100K ones, and this is definitely a good time to start considering, putting in your order right now. And it depends on your broker if you can get filled or not. I know that E-Trade has a tendency to not fill very well, but you just experiment with some brokers, see which one fills you the best. Try to put in your order as early as possible, and see if you can get filled at the open. So as you can see here, ACCS still lighting up the scanners. I'm still watching the blocks. They're using an MM to hold it down at 14, or around the 14 area, and noting that there's been 2 million shares that's been traded already, and that's pretty good. So still watching the blocks here. And before trading this pick, I definitely did a study of the previous victory mark picks. I did make a note that SUI had about $300,000 in volume in the first 3 minutes, and HDIC, which was the pick before that, had about $600,000 in volume in the first 3 minutes. So as you can see here, we're already at $360,000 in volume, so that's more or less already what the volume should be at. So this is going to be a pretty standard victory mark pick. So still looking at the blocks going through. We got some people loading up here, 50K. You got ARCA, which is the MM that's used to fill pre-market on some brokers, showing size on the bid. And they're still trying to hold it down around the 14 area. It's obvious manipulation here, dilution. They're just selling shares there at 14. ACCS still lining up the scanners there below, as you can see. Nothing else showing up, so at this point, it's fair to say that this is 99% chance probably the pick, unless something bizarre happens, like they decide to cancel it or delay it or something. So yeah, just keep an eye on the blocks here pre-market. Have your order in or at least ready. And make sure that there isn't like a random drop or something pre-market where they just let it go. That's something that you don't want to see. So as long as you see them control the price, keep it around a certain range, it looks good to go. So there you see 400K and 250K. Big blocks going through. And I want to make a note that I did fill about 100,000 shares pre-market at about a 15 average. It wasn't the best fill in the world, but I just wanted to see if I can get a fill pre-market, and I was able to capture about 100,000 shares. And to fill a pre-market, there's definitely a fee for it. It depends on your broker. With Speed Trader, which is the broker that I use, they charge about a 0.004 per share. So which means that if you're buying 100,000 shares, they're going to charge you $400 in commission. So just keep that in mind. So keep an eye on ARCA. They still have 500K, 563K to be exact on the bid. So that means people are still trying to load up pre-market. There you go. It's just that number's just going up. No sign of going down. Just people just trying to load up pre-market, trying to get filled. Big block still going through. Price still being controlled in the 14 range. It's not dropping randomly. Still lighting up the scanners. Still looking good so far. Less than 2 minutes till the market opens. So let's see where it goes. Some fat fingerprints there at 16. So the key thing is nothing else is showing up on the scanners. So that just shows you that this is the only possibility. If there were to be a pick by Victory Mark, this has got to be it. You know, if they decide to cancel or delay, you know, then you know that's not going to be good for the people that bought. But it's definitely either this or nothing at this point. So we got 8.5 million volume already. That's pretty solid. 15 seconds till the market open. People chasing it up a little bit. Got 1 million on the bid by ARCA. And the market is now open, I believe. And a little stall here because it takes a while for the emails to hit. And once the emails hit, you'll see this thing go. And I believe at this point the emails hit, and here comes the blocks. People are going to start chasing this up. And the 15s will be history in a second. So at this point I am in, I believe, a total of 400,000 shares at about a 15 average. It wasn't the best fill, like I said, but I was pretty confident that this was going to go up given the amount of people trying to chase it up with the big bids. So and my plan for the Victory Mark pick, which is based off of how the previous picks performed, was that I was planning on selling on the 4th or 5th 3-minute candle, because there's usually a pretty substantial pullback at that time. And the reason why I'm selling the 15-minute pullback as opposed to holding it for maybe a couple extra cents is because of my position size. 400,000 shares, I gotta sell into liquidity. I gotta sell as it's going up, not as it's going down. So that's why I decided to get rid of it on about the 15-minute mark. But if you have a smaller position, you know, it's fine for you to hold through the 15-minute pullback. Usually Victory Mark picks end up at the top around, I believe, the 30-minute mark. So there's always a 15-minute pullback, and then it goes up, a couple extra cents above the previous high. So, and I think that's what ACCS did here. So right now there's a big bid at 15.1, so it's looking pretty good. 16s are going to hit pretty soon. You got big blocks. People are going to start chasing it up. You know, during the first couple minutes, that people are always going to be chasing it up. It takes a while for emails to hit. Sometimes people, are late, and as a result, it's gonna result in the stock price being chased up a little bit by these people. And you'll be seeing that in action on the level 2 based on the bids you see being generated. So already 14 million volume, and the first 3-minute candle hasn't even closed yet. That's pretty solid for a Victory Mark pick. A lot of money being thrown into this. You got a bid stack there. So I have in my notes written down that the previous picks, SUI, XUII, and HDIC both generated about 2.4 million in volume in the first 3 minutes, but this is already at that level in the first 3 minutes. So I'm feeling pretty good on this one, about this one at this point. Still holding on to my position with no intention to sell yet. Very solid first 3 minute candle. We're on our second 3 minute candle. Let's see the follow through. Should see some bids on 16 coming up pretty soon. $16.5 printed with 50K, $16.9 printed, 16 starting to stack. Ask a little thinning. There you go, you got 16.2 stack. We still got retail peeps, Night, ETRF, and CSTI as well, chasing it up. So that just shows you we're on the second 3 minute candle, 4 minutes in, and there's still people chasing it up. We got ARCA now with 1 mil at 16.25. So you know, if you got filled, you should still be in. No reason to sell. There you go, 200K at 16.5. You got some bids here, pretty solid amount of bids above 16. Not many on the ask below 17, so still got ARCA chasing it up with 1 mil. 17 should be breaking pretty soon. There you go, now you got 17s on the bid. Yeah, I got a 17.8 print there. Almost 4 million on the second 3 minute candle. Already 18.4 million of volume on ACCS. You know, you got some bids above 17, a good amount of MMs above 17. Yeah, ARC is still chasing it up. So yeah, I mean, it's always important to note that for these pump and dumps, people always tend to chase it up for the first, you know, 3 or 4 3 minute candles or so. So it's good to just watch the action and just don't sell unless you see something, you know, very, very wrong. You know, so you got a little bit stalling here, a little stack here at 17.2. You want to see 17s hold. There you go, the 17s are starting to show up on the bid again. 17.2 print, and now 17.2 on the bid. So there you go, you got 17.19 stacking, and the 17.2 should go away shortly. So you want to see the transactions go through on the ask as opposed to the bid to see that it's going up as opposed to going down. So you see a lot more 17.2s versus 17.19s. And now you're getting some prints at 17.3, 17.4. So now you're definitely good that this thing's probably going to go up as opposed to go down. Bid stacking again at 17.19, 200K by Night, 250K by CSTI. 17.2 should thin out pretty soon, and we should be on our way to 18. Pretty solid volume here on this 3-minute candle. Already 27 million volume. Pretty solid. And right here, I'm just trying to determine the resistance. I'm trying to have a price target here, and I do note that there was a prior resistance around 18.5. So at this point, I determined that my sell target is around 18.5 cents, and I'm going to be looking to sell around the between the fourth and fifth 3-minute candle. And where did I get that from? That's what I determined from studying the previous victory mark picks. That's when the volume tends to die out. That's when people stop chasing. And like I said, when you have a large position like me, you gotta sell into liquidity. You gotta sell into volume. You gotta sell into the price action as it's going up as opposed to going down. Now, like I said, if you have a smaller position, you could hold it. If you have a large position, you could sell half and then hold the other half. But I like to take the sure bet and I just sell everything. And just lock in my profits. So 18s are going to be approaching pretty soon, which is, like I said, my price target. And I'm going to watch to see if the volume starts to dry out. We're on our fourth 3-minute candle now. We've still got some pretty good bid stacking here. 18s should be breaking. And I want to see if we can test that 18.5 level that I just pointed out. And if there's substantial volume, I'm going to keep holding it. See if it can break 20. If it can't break it, then I'm just going to look to sell. Alright, so we got an 18 print here. A couple 18 prints actually. More transactions going through on the ask, like I said, as opposed to the bid. Do note that it's printing a little bit slower than before, and the volume on this candle is slightly less than convincing than the last three. So definitely the resistance might come into play here, unless the volume picks up drastically. Still got some pretty good bid support here though. We want to see if 18 can break here. 18s are up now in the ask. Alright, transactions going through on the ask again. 18s getting hit. No sells to 17.99. There's some prints above 18 now. So you should be convinced that it's probably going to break 18 here unless they put up a huge dilution wall or something. There we go. 18 on the bid now. So let's see if there's a bid stack at 18 now. Looking pretty good. We're getting our bid stack here. 905K by CSTI 18. Here we go. But do note that that last candle was not very convincing. It looks like it's less than 3 million on the last candle, whereas we had well over 6-7 million on the candle before that. So maybe we're approaching the point where A, it's hitting the resistance level that I pointed out, and B, the demand is dying out. So we still got some bid stacking here. This still looks pretty good. So this is the 5th candle though. So I have my sell order ready, although it's not submitted yet. It's just ready just in case. Still got some orders going through on the ask as opposed to the bid, and that's what you want to see. Alright, let's see here. Knight with 225k in the ask. Alright, now you got some ask, the bid thinning out a little bit. Alright, now you got a downtick. So at this point I put in my sell order and I got filled right there in that batch of 18s. I filled about 300,000 of my 400,000 shares. And I believe I filled the rest around 17.5. So I got filled at about an 18 average from 15, locked in about $11,000 in gains. And as you can see, you had a split second to make that decision. And if you missed that sell, you pretty much lost about a cent or so. Basically, the sign was the transactions going through on the bid as opposed to the ask, the bid dropping off, and ARCA downticking. So you had to have been able to see that, spot that, and react within a split second and put your order in. So as you can see now, the price is dropping. Now this is probably our 15-minute pullback, you know, your traditional 15-minute pullback dip here. A lot of volume came out there on that dip. And like I said with victory mark picks, after this 15-minute pullback, it usually makes a recovery typically, and it breaks that previous high a little bit by about a cent or two. But although on lower volumes, so I didn't want to risk that just in case I got stuck and couldn't sell. Alright guys, so I guess that's all I had recorded. This stock afterward made that dip and made a new high around 19 or something like that. Like I said, on lower volume. So for me, I didn't want to take the risk of being stuck. But definitely if you had a smaller position and if you wanted to hold, it would have been fine. You could have sold that top. The same concepts, you know, watch for the downticks, watch for the bid to drop off, watch for the transactions on the bid as opposed to the ask. That's your signal to get out. The most important thing when it comes to playing these picks, you gotta have a plan. You gotta go ahead and study the previous plays, see how the promoters run the plays. Recognize the patterns, the volume patterns, the supports and resistances, when they tend to pull back the stock, when they tend to, hit the highs. So that's when you know when to sell. So, always have a plan when you enter a trade, and that's generally something that holds true. Alright guys, hope this helped. Please let me know if you have any questions on Twitter, iHub, catch me in the Stock Haven chat. Yeah, that's it. Mad as out.